The White House says that it is reviewing how the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic magazine was accidentally added to a group text in which people who appeared to be members of the Trump administration talked about plans to launch airstrikes on the Houthi rebels in Yemen. In that story, The Atlantic's editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, reported about his fears that what he was seeing was actually just a disinformation campaign that he was targeted by after he was added to the group chat earlier this month on an encrypted messaging service called Signal. Goldberg said that he came to believe the text chain was real after the U.S. actually started bombing targets in Yemen on March 15th, at which point he said he exited the text chain. Asked about the story at a White House event yesterday, President Trump said he didn't know about it. He was hearing about it for the first time, he said, although a source did tell NBC News Trump had read the story as of late last night. Democrats in Washington called for an investigation into what Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said was a stunning breach of military intelligence. Late yesterday, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth insisted no one had been texting war plans. In a statement, a National Security Council spokesman said, at this time, the message thread that was reported appears to be authentic, and we are reviewing how an inadvertent number was added to the chain. The thread is a demonstration of the deep and thoughtful policy coordination between senior officials. The ongoing success of the Houthi operation demonstrates that there were no threats to our service members or our national security, but there are a lot of questions on this. First of all, why they were on Signal
it's like if you didn't like what Hillary was doing, you wouldn't like this.
Correct.
It looks kind of amateurish the way the whole thing happened.
Yeah.
I will say that reading the actual text, no one really looked particularly bad. J.D. Vance looked pretty good, and there was some thoughtful analysis. The strangest thing for me is out of all the gin joints in all the world, that's from Casablanca too, this guy, Jeffrey Goldberg, he is the poster child. He almost uses The Atlantic as his own personal platform to slam Trump.
They invited him in.
I'm just saying who he is. Here's his article from 2020. Trump, Americans who died in war are losers and suckers. He had one earlier this year. Trump, I need the kind of generals that Hitler had. That's the title of the Atlantic piece. Before the election in 2024, he had an entire article. The first issue of the Atlantic for 2024 focused on the disastrous consequences, catastrophic consequences of a second term for Donald Trump. But out of all the guys in the world, it would almost be like the Biden administration leaking something. Wait a minute. There was no journalist that ever actually trashed the Biden administration. So I don't have an analogous person to Jeffrey Goldberg in the mainstream media.
One thing is to invite a journalist into this. The bigger issue is what are they doing to?
They didn't invite him in it. Why was he on the contact list? No,
I don't know. Wrong.
Why did he was on? Why was he on either Waltz or Hegseth's contact?
I think it was Waltz's. I think
Waltz's contact. I mean, that makes me think. What are you talking to this guy, Waltz? And if you are, why are you? It almost raises the question of
there will be questions that are asked in Congress. Tulsi Gabbard happens to be going before Congress this week to be answering questions about security around the world. I am sure that this will come up in part of it, but the big issue is this is a commercially available app, Signal, and no matter how secure you may or may not think it is, it's not secure enough for discussing plans for attacking the Houthis in
I guess it'd be like
bombing plans,
like including Sean Hannity on Biden's plans for re-election or something.
Yes.
I came up with that's about it. I think we're going to talk more about this, but using Signal, I mean,
right. And as you mentioned, if you're opposed to Hillary using her own server for what was happening with these things, this has been something that the Republicans have kind of messaged that we're going to be much safer about these things. It's going to raise some questions.
I don't think there's anything beyond sort of an accident or incompetence or whatever you want to call it. But the way that it played out and seeing that it actually makes everyone kind of look good that it was in the, I mean, it wouldn't be done on purpose. Why did this guy?
No, it wasn't done.
Why did this guy?
We've all done ridiculous things where you texted the wrong person, where you emailed the wrong person, where you top-lined the wrong person.
Oh, yes. I remember someone who was running this place top-lined someone and sent it to the person
about talking about
Yeah, it was really bad, and went into here over the weekend. It was able to go into the...
To erase it?
Yes.
Oh, man.
That's what happened. This was, no one you know now is 30 years ago. So it has nothing to do with anyone who's still here.